Righto, guys. Well, we're at the stage now where, yes, I'm going to take some photos here, disconnect some wires. I did spray just the pot just a bit, just to see was it going to come good, and yeah, that's fine. I just didn't know how much of this to take apart, but the pot come up quite okay. Now, we do have a ground of the circuit board, which is actually broken away there. That's probably not helping as well, although there is another ground here. There's also a rivet down here. That's handy, isn't it? So we'll drill him out. I'll take pictures and document absolutely everything with where the wires go. Now, this resistor and capacitor have been jumpered there, I would say, because the ones in the couplet had failed. So we'll also check this out while we've got it apart. We'll mount this on top, and yeah, we'll just clean the whole thing up. Okay. Also take the tuning gang off. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna have to do something with this little roller, the little pulley for our tuning, because he's grabbing the cord, and yeah, I don't quite know what I'm going to fit there, and the cap and everything else. So these fellas that hold the rod antenna, they are pop riveted. Well, no, I think they're just rivets in either side. I'll just drill them out. We will put little screws back in there to hold them. All fairly straightforward compared to other radios that I've restored. I can't see anything else here, so to discuss at the moment. We still don't know what this fella is. He's something in there. Very odd. Okay, so we'll check all the resistors, and of course, when we get all this out, get rid of this power cord, that's for sure. All right, I'll start pulling it apart. I'll take my pictures, and you'll see bit by bit on the restoration of this little fella. Not going to record absolutely everything, but all the important bits, I think. Okay, let's get into starting the big restore on this fella, the Admiral 5AW. And of course, this is one of the parts I hate, taking this off. I mean, we should be putting them on, taking them off. Here we go. Yep. Okay. Now, we've got to take him off to do something with him. Here we go. Done. We'll work out how to get it back on. This is an easy one. It's a loop. And yeah, a little bit tight, the old girl. So, okay. Now, how is that affixed? Let's just pull off, I think. And I'm going to take a picture before I take that off, so I know exactly how to put that on when the gang is closed. Well, guys, all the wires are off the bottom. Tuning gang's off, which was only the 4 screws and a couple of leads, antenna rod. Here's the transformer. Like, you know, we've got 6.3, 6.3 there, and the no, that's it. Sorry, that's our high voltage. This is our 6.3 center tap, and all we've got to do is straighten these tabs up, and I'll just, yeah, you're off camera there, and the transformer slips out. So I'm going to do that anyway. Yeah, one thing leads to the other. Every job's nearly the same. And yeah, just take this board out. See how there's a tab there that's got to be lifted, one here, lifted a little bit, and a pop rivet, which I think goes through. Yes, he does. So there he is there. And yeah, it'll be good to get in and give this board a bit of a scrub. And well, Yeah, while I got it all apart, I'll probably respray the chassis. It's good underneath, but there are some rust spots around it, and these rod holders, the aerial rod holders, certainly have to be done. Okay, so it's a matter of drilling them out, as I've told you before. Okay, so that's where I'm up to. I'm going to drop the transformer out, and then we might take the board out first. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get on to that now. Well, guys, yeah, as I've said before, you know me. I don't know whether I take the easiest way of cleaning things or the absolute hardest. But anyway, there's the chassis. Underneath is good. This is a pretty easy thing to work on. The top, I want to get some of the rubbish off this. I think I'll put it in the sandblaster, I think. And certainly with the these two brackets, actually, were riveted on the bottom. They hold the rod antenna up the top there. They're not very nice. I thought, well, if I'm going to drill these out and repaint them, yeah, I'm going to do the chassis. Okay. Transformer, this needs doing. Looks a bit yucky. So, yep, doing it. As I've said before, got to get myself an ultrasonic cleaner. It'd be easy to do this. But anyway, I don't have one at present, but I certainly will be. I will be ordering one for sure. Okay, so he's not too bad underneath. A little bit of rust on the couple of rivets there. Otherwise, yeah, looks pretty good. And of course, the printed board. Okay, so fair bit of cleaning up there to do. Looks like this is a cap. I can just see 600 volts or something written on there. So it's a paper cap mounted vertically. So it's a radial cap. There's no other wires coming out this end. I haven't seen a radial waxy. That's all. Taken me a bit by surprise. We know that the couplet is good. There he is. There's his number. Okay, he's quite good. We'll check the resistor. There's a little resistor on the oscillator coil in there. Little mica cap. He'll be okay. There's a resistor in there. One here. And a cap here that's been baked. As Shanga would say, that is totally baked. I will be checking that that fella. He's probably okay. And of course this. So we'll get this off. So there we go. There's underneath. Clean some of this soldering up and resolder so that I don't want this thing back. As I always say, once they go out the door, they've got to be right. Don't know whether it needs that size resistor or what, but yeah, probably not, because whatever that resistor and the capacitor have replaced is obviously open circuit inside the couplet. So because we'll trace where that goes, and I'll mark it on the diagram so that we know what's been replaced, what actually failed in him. Okay, I better get to work. There it is. Let's get to work. I'm also going to give the case a bit of a dip in the tub and try and get it looking a bit nicer. Okay, I've been in a dilly-dally. We've got to get on with this one. Righto, guys, I've just taken the main filter cap out, the 8 and the 16 mic. And, yeah, he's probably not looking real good, is he? And I thought, well, I've got to share this experience with you. Like, I don't want to pull it out and test it and just tell you what it is. I want to I want just to be there with me. That's where he was. Okay. And we've removed him from there and cleaned the board up a little bit so far, but I've still got some alcohol to put on here, clean it all up, and check out this thing. Yeah. Anyway, this is about the cap. Now, according to this is the old style of cap labelling. The square on the little tab underneath, and that one's a square, and there's a triangle. See that one there? Well, that's a triangle. So the triangle is the 8 microfarad, 200 volt, nothing special about this. And the square is 16. So let's try with the square and see what he reads. Now I think you can see that. Maybe if I put him up like that, might be better for you. If I can get it away from the light. Okay, let's check the square. And it's open. It's totally open. Okay, let's check the triangle. And this one should be 8. 10.6. Okay, we'll go back to this one. Wow. Now, hang on a minute. It might be extremely leaky and reading high. It is. I had this set on 20. So it's reading 22.8. Okay, so it is reading. It's not open. So that's a 16 mic reading 22. That cap is not going back in. We've got some gunk under here that's been rolling out of him at one stage. He's coming out of that little slot there. Now what we're going to do here is shave off a little bit around the ring, pull the insides of it out, and we've got to get an 8 and a 16, or say a 10, and really I'll have to go a 22, I guess, at about 250 volts inside this fella. Okay, because I want this to go back on the board. All right, let's do that. Okay, let's see if he worked. The aluminium should be taken away enough, I think, on the sides for this to come up past it. Theory, anyway. Once I get it started, it should be okay. Oh, I can see what's going to happen here. Let's see if he'll just lift out. He doesn't really want to lift out. Okay. I might just have to try and help this a little bit with a pair of cutters. And he's gradually coming out. It would have been good just to take that down a little bit further with the grinder, but I don't want to mark the ring. We need to use this ring again. That's our negative terminal. Now I'm going to put where our ring goes, there's the triangle there. Going to put that little mark just on the outside so I know where that goes when I'm putting him back together. I think we're nearly out. Here we go. There's our connection. I'll break him away. Right. Now, we've got to get this fella out. And he's a bit stubborn too. Just going to give him a little bit of clearance there, right around. Okay. Can we get a screwdriver in there and lift him out? No, he doesn't want to do that. We may have to heat him. Yeah, I think I'm going to get my heat gun and just gently heat it, and that way it'll loosen up the oil and everything inside it and enable this to hopefully slide out. There's also that little tag there is also riveted on the side there, but that shouldn't stop us, from getting this out. So I'll just grab my heat gun. Okay, a little bit of gentle heat does wonders. Don't want to damage the can any more than what it is at the moment. We can tidy this up, but if it gets any worse, so might be a bit of an exercise. Okay, now what's something there? Hang on a wee minute, it's getting a bit hot. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, nearly knocked the camera over. Ooh, okay. How about that? Yeah, I'm not touching that. There's a rubber band around that. Holds him together. Holds the foil. Yeah, I think he's seen better days. And there's our can. He'll clean up quite nice. That'll be fine. Yeah. Okay then. Well, there you go. That was inside the 8 and 16 mic capacitor. I don't want to touch it too much. I don't have gloves on at the moment, so yeah, just don't need to touch it. Righto, guys. Well, I've cleaned out our cap, or the cap lid. I've cut off the connections that went to the capacitor itself. We've got these tabs underneath. Now, these ones were aluminium. We can't solder to them. There's a little piece on the end of these. You can probably see it clamped around there on each piece, clamped around an aluminium peg there, that little fella there. I want to come in from this side with the capacitors. So I'm going to put a very small hole right next to this one, not where the triangle and the square is, because I want to have those visible. So I'm bringing them on in the center, and like the I think the square is 16, which will be our 22 mic. Bring him up in the centre, bring him around, and solder him to the back of this little peg here. Okay, so that's what I want to do there. When this goes back in, this is solderable, so there'll be another small wire that comes out. We'll probably bring it out through our vent hole. Now the vent hole's staying in there because, well, any pressure build up or something happens with these. We want the gases to escape. Okay, as I said, these are the two capacitors going in there. They will be put in like so. There's a little bit of room there. I will be putting them in and wrapping them with a little bit of heat shrink just across the bottom as well, so that nothing actually touches anything, and they will be mounted on that fella. Okay. The negatives will be tied together inside the can and one wire brought out, as I said, through here, through the slot, and taken across and soldered to the outside the outside ring there. That's yeah, we'll find a spot where he can go, possibly on that one. That's your main ground lug. These two are just locating lugs, so we'll just bring him out and just probably put him just on the inside so it doesn't foul when it's going on to the circuit board. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. I smoothed this out a fair bit. I don't have a lathe to do this. And you're thinking, why have I got tape wrapped around here? I'll show you a poor man's lathe. Yes, there it is. This is my poor man's lathe. It's a hole saw. This fits in nicely. The tape, of course, doesn't scratch the can, holds it in nice and firm, and we can turn this and smooth the edges off with a file or whatever you've got, and yeah, just make the edge a lot better than what it was. Okay, so there you go. There's my lathe. Okay, let's get on and put these things in. Okay, well, we've drilled our holes. Now, the triangle is the 8 mic, so that'll be the 10 microfarad that we've got here. So we'll put our ground wire, which is a little bit longer than what we needed, doesn't matter, down through the centre. Alright guys, now we bring this fella up and around, and the same with this one here, and they will be soldered just on the back. Okay, let's make sure they're going to solder okay before we go any further. And we'll put a little bit of flux on this fella just to make sure he's going to adhere okay. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Right, that's looking good. Needs a bit of a clean up. Okay, and with these fellas, now I'm going to get some heat shrink and put around them before we put him back in his can. I want a little bit of extra on this so it can be either cut off or go down and touch the bottom of the can. But yeah, I want that a little bit longer. Okay, now lots of you guys know how to do this. This is a common thing. But for anyone that doesn't, that wants to go into this hobby and do things like this, well, yeah, just showing you how I do it anyway. Okay, there we go. Good heat shrink this. It's Andrew heat shrink, and it is brilliant. There we go. All done. And we'll just bend him over just that little bit, and he'll get pushed into the can. Get on the edges of this fella and roll the edges over. Now, I'm just going to do that on a piece of wood. I sort of haven't got the camera near where that's going to happen. I think all that will work fine. The other thing we'll do is just check on the radio to make sure the orientation is correct. I'll do that now. And if we look there, we've got our big tag, which goes on this side, the two small ones, and the two other pins on this side. So yes, the orientation is correct per the circuit board. Okay, I'll go and have a go at rolling these edges. Well, there we go, guys. Not the prettiest of jobs, that is for sure, but it's the best roll I could get on the outside of it with the tools that I've got. Anyway, there he is, ready to put in. You don't see this side of him anyway when he's on the circuit board, but probably not the point. I would have liked it a little bit nicer than that. But anyway, we've run the ground wire across here, soldered onto the ground tab. It does slip into the circuit board nicely. So, yeah, that's that bit done. Now, this bit, let's start on the circuit board. Let's get things cleaned up. Got to clean the cans and replace the resistors. I may as well, like there's there's 4 resistors in this radio. I'm just going to replace them that way. But we will check each one to see was there any hassles. And this, well, it's a cap. I think it's an 05 or something, a 005 maybe. Don't know. We'll have him out shortly anyway. And this little 01 ceramic here, so we'll do something with it. All right, let's get this cleaned up. Well, there's the radio now. I've sort of taken it to the next level, haven't I, with this one? But there's a couple of things here that I thought we should discuss, and I wanted to show you. So, first of all, we removed everything off the board because it makes the board pretty easy to clean, doesn't it? Like there's nothing there. And the back, well, we can go over this and redo the valve sockets and check things, and it's a lot easier looking like that than with the gear on it. That's one of my reasons. We've done the painting. That's our ferrite antenna holder, and there's our chassis, and it's come up pretty nice, very nice. You can see where I've had tape on there where I didn't want paint over the solder terminals, but yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I'm happy with that. And we even got to keep the serial number. There we go, P7700. One thing I wanted to check was the couplet. Now, this has had two broken off short pins on this, which is pin 3 and pin 4. I want to check the resistance and see if the capacitor's working on the legs where the resistor and the capacitor are put on the back of the board. Which probably is. It's a 2. What is it? No, it's a 4. A 470k resistor. Okay, so this has got a 470k in it. It's a plate feed to one of the valves. So odds are the one in here would be open circuit. But I wanted to check that anyway. Plus, well, clean him up a little bit. Okay, that also has a capacitor across it. Now, I'm not real sure what that one is. It looks like a 10, 15 picofarad. I'm not sure. We'll look at the circuit on that. So that's the couplet. Another reason, the oscillator coil. One of the coils is one of the wires is very loose, and I was going to melt some wax just there to keep it, in place. I wanted to check that resistor to make sure it was 22k, and I thought, well, it's easier just to pull it out. We can clean inside it, clean around it. I don't want to touch it too much because that's fairly fine Litz wire that's on there. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. The other resistors, 100 ohm, a 2.2 meg, and a 330 ohm. Now, I haven't checked these yet. We'll be just about to do that now. This fella, this was the one that's baked in the middle. He's a zero point 0.01 microfarad. Now, I don't know the voltage rating on that. We'll have a look where he is. I think it's probably a 600 or something, but we'll check it. I would like to replace that. Yeah, doesn't look good. The cap, the radial cap, that I haven't actually seen one of these. It's an 05 Ducon, and it's only rated at 200 volts. Nothing special about that one, but it's radial. Okay, so yeah, it's just that I've never seen one. So that's that. Now, we took the IF cans out because I want to clean the can just up a little bit, but these are interesting, and I thought, well, I'll show you what's inside this particular type of IF transformer. Now, I have a little mark there. This is IFT1. He goes right next to the 6BE6 valve, actually, and I've also marked on here, so I know which way it goes around. Now, this one did have a little spider in it. Well, had a little spider in it. The web was still in there, but I was quite intrigued with just the assembly, of these little slugs. And that's the top and bottom. I've also cleaned them up so they turn quite easily. And we've checked the coils, which are actually inside the slug. You sort of can't see them. I wonder, okay, I'll unscrew this one for you. I just found this a little bit fascinating. No doubt we'll be up for a tuning job when put these back in. there's our coil. There's no need to take him out any further. And our coil, and the slug just screws down over him. Okay, I just wanted to show you this because it's a different way of doing an IF transformer. We'll wind him way down, back round about where he was. Okay, so we do have a couple of capacitors in there, underneath this fella. Doesn't look like any silver mica disease. They look quite good, actually. And that never showed up when we first started the radio anyway. Okay, so that's that one. It goes together like so. But I'll clean that off. And the other one, pretty well the same thing. A little bit different. This is number 2, and I have put 2 dots there as well, so I know how this goes together. Now, being a spider in there, you can see where he's been, and you can also see here where he's been. So I'm pleased I took these apart, actually. I've got to clean this one so that he turns a little bit better. I don't want to force him there at the moment until I clean the thread out of the ferrites. Well, there you go. I hope you've learned something from that. I just found it interesting, and I thought, well, my viewers will find that interesting as well, hopefully. Okay, and, well, our ratty-looking can is done, but, oh, well, it does work. It tests okay, so we should be right with that. All right. Now, the first thing I'll check, and we'll get a circuit, is our, well, I call them thick films, but most people call them couplets. Let's have a look. Pin 7, looking closely, is actually gone. So now that I've cleaned him up, that's where pin 7 used to be. Okay, so at some stage, that's broken off, and there's a connection between pin 7 and pin 5. Now, if we look here, pin 7, pin 6, okay, and it also, there's a capacitor goes over to pin 5. So there is your 470k resistor, the one that is soldered on the other side of the board, as well as that capacitor. So here's a better picture of our coupler. Okay, so we should have a connection between pin 7 and pin 6. There should be 470k. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Okay, if we turn this fella over, pin 7, pin 6 is actually, well, 600k. No, we can't get a connection there, so obviously this is broken at some stage, and yeah, that actual, a little bit of dark here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that looks like 5 and 6. Okay, so that's why we have the external resistor, external capacitor. We've solved that. Let's look at another one. Okay, let's look at this one here. Between pin 4 and pin 5, we should have 470k. The same as this one, but a little bit different. Pin 4, pin 5. Let's see what we've got between pin 4 here and pin 5. And we don't have anything there. We do over there. That seems to be 5. And this does seem to be 6. Okay. So between 4 and what looks to be 5, a little bit high, but hey, that's fine. Righto, guys. Well, pin 7, we can't resurrect that. There is nothing. It's a ceramic, like a piece of ceramic slate on the inside, and with a coating. You can't solder to it. So pin 7 is broken off. That's why these would have been put in there. Yes, it does measure between there and there, but we can't get anything to attach to it, actually. Well, there and, sorry, 6. So in actual fact, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, and 7. Okay, on that one. So if you get caught out with one of these, they're not in order. Okay, the capacitor, what I read on here is 10 picofarad between, that's the resistor, the capacitor. So that capacitor there, C6, is a 10 picofarad. That's what it's reading on my couplet between 7 and 6. Now, this was across it. I've measured it. It is dead on 10 picofarad. So that is correct. That'll be going back in. The other thing is this resistor that was across it. Let's measure him. So we'll do our component measuring now. And let's see what sort of measurement we get on him. 470. Well, yeah, 470. 470.8. And that's a 470K. Okay, so couplet's okay. The resistor's okay. The capacitor's okay. Okay, let's try and measure the only other 3 resistors in this radio. It's incredible. A 2.2 meg. Let's see what he's measuring. 2.9. Okay, he's up there. Yeah, I would be replacing that 2.2 anyhow. Okay, but that's what he reads. Now, this one. This is a 390 ohm. 330 ohm, sorry. Orange, orange, and brown. 33 and 10. 330 ohm. 324. It's actually down. But once again, I will still be replacing that for the sake of 3 resistors. We will. This one, 100 ohm. Let's see what he reads. 106. So not bad. Not bad at all. The 2.2 is the higher one. Now, let's have a look at our 2 capacitors. Now I'm not going to use my fluke meter here. I'll use my capacitance meter, only because it's a little bit easier to read. Now this one is, as I said, a 0.5. Let's see how close that one is. So we will put him on. We'll put him on 2 microfarad and see can we get a 0.005. A 0.5 rather. We get a 0.81. Okay, we'll go down a scale. Yeah, no, he's out. He should be measuring 50 there, so, and it's the end of the scale there. So a 0.8, this is reading a 0.5. I would say that's as leaky as hell. Yeah. Okay, once again, we're going to replace him. Okay, the charred one. Now, this is a 0.1. let's see, can we get 0, 1 on our meter? Okay, pretty close. That's pretty close. Should we put him back in? He looks terrible, but it's spot on. Might give him a clean, and we may reuse that one. Our oscillator coil. Let's make sure we've got continuity. Or we've got this resistor as well. And I think he's across a coil. 29K, he's supposed to be 22K. There we go. We're going to replace him for sure. 29 is certainly a bit high. Way out of spec. And we've got a little capacitor across there. I think that's across a coil. It must be across that. Let's see. Can we get a capacitor reading? Probably not. No, we can't because of the resistor, that's all. We've got one coil there, one there, and an open. And that should be right because on our diagram here, we have 3 connections. 1, 2, and the center tap, 3. And that's our oscillator coil. Okay, that goes up to the grid of our converter, the 6BE6. Or mixer, if you want to call it a mixer. Okay, so that coil is okay. That's everything tested. I've tested the IF cans. Okay, I'll clean some things up here. I'll replace that resistor on the coil, do a few things, and of course, we'll clean this board up and get it ready to repopulate. And I'll just give you snippets of this as I go along. Okay, it's time to start putting the components back on the board. The board's been cleaned up the best it can be. Now I've gone over the back of it and resoldered all the valve sockets, checked all the traces. Yeah, there's a couple of traces that need patching up. We'll do that as we go. So now I think the first thing is we've got 3 resistors there and a capacitor, actually 2 capacitors. So we'll put them back on and I'll come back and then we'll look at the next step, which will probably, after that, be the IF cans. And then, last of all, the oscillator coil. Now, then the capacitor. I don't want the oscillator coil in first because it's fairly fragile and we need something there to, something higher than that coil so that it's protected once he goes in there. Okay, there we go. So let's get this lot of parts on. Okay, we've got all the resistors and the couple of capacitors. Now I've put one IF can intermediate frequency transformer there, and now I'm soldering in this one here, which is that fella just there. Okay, so just thought I'd bring this in before I solder everything on what's happening here. Just soldering the outside case. And now I've just got to turn him around. I'll solder the pins. And when I'm finished soldering this, I'll just check the continuity between them just to make sure that nothing has dislodged or not gone where it's supposed to or anything. But I'm pretty sure she's okay. Okay, there you go. That's the transformer in. Now, let's have a look. It's almost starting to look like a radio again, isn't it? Okay, so I fitted the coil, resistor, 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 the little cap at the back. That was our little odd one. And I put our discoloured disc back in. It reads perfect. So, yeah, putting him back in. Okay, so there's not much more. We've got this thing to do next. Yes, the couplet. And he goes facing 6AQ5, which is the last valve in that row, facing this way. Now, the centre leads there are very short, but they are protruding. So we can get, just gently push him down. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can get a solder connection to them. That's not a problem. Okay, let's solder him in. So this one here, there is none. That's the one that's broken, number 7. So that's why we had our resistor and capacitor in there. But other than that, yeah, he all looks good. I think we'll go ahead. I'm not bending them over, certainly not touching them. They're fairly fragile at this stage of their life. With these things, once you put them in, don't bend them around because you'll break the legs off them. Believe me, been there and done that. Okay, this fella, oh, he looks a bit ratty, and I sat another. Oh, don't talk about this. I set another little machine here I've got in the workshop on the top of this, and it dented it. It was sort of in an odd position, and it pushed the top in, and I don't want to open it again. So, yeah, unfortunately. But anyway, shit happens, as they say. Okay, let's put him in. I'm going to melt a little bit of wire in there because I don't trust that track. There we go. There we are. Right. There we go. We've more or less got a radio. Now, we've got to put the bypass here on this couplet, pin 7, which is our HT, to pin 6.5. What is it, guys? I've got a memory like a goldfish. Okay, pin 7 to pin 6. Now, we know for a fact that we go 7, 5, 6. So it's jumped from there across to the HT. There we go, guys. Rightio, guys. Oh, gee, I'm disappointed with that. You really don't know how disappointed I am. Anyway, moving on. That's board is now ready to put in the radio. I'll go and just clean the board a little bit here with some alcohol, just to get rid of the excess flux, and that board is ready. She's ready to go.